All right, so we'll go ahead and call the school board meeting into session at this time. And again, thanks for being here this evening. So the first item of business is to approve the agenda, and we do have one change to the agenda, and that is item 3.1 is deleted, and that's the recognition of the Baker girls volleyball team, and superintendent has confirmed that they'll be coming back at a different time. So colleagues, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second. I'll go ahead.
Okay, since you deferred, second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. All right, so 3.1 is deleted. Moving down to administrative appointments, 4.1. Appointment of the principal, Blue Water Elementary School, recommended by Superintendent Chambers. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and School Board. I bring before you Mr. Jordan Berry. Mr. Berry was born and raised in Bradenton, Florida, where he graduated from Manatee High School in 2003. After high school, Mr. Berry attended the University of West Florida, where he earned a bachelor's degree in history. In 2008, Mr. Berry began his teaching career at Escambia High School in Pensacola, Florida. During his time at Escambia, he taught intensive reading, world history, U.S. history classes, while coaching cross-country, soccer, and baseball. While in Pensacola, Mr. Berry met his amazing wife, Liz, and had two beautiful children, Natalie and Jack. In 2014, Mr. Berry was hired at Lewis School, where he continued teaching social studies and coaching baseball. Mr. Berry earned his master's degree in educational leadership in 2018 from the University of West Florida and was hired the following year to serve as the Dean of Students. Mr. Berry was hired as the assistant principal at Lewis in 2019 and was named the elementary assistant principal of the year in 2024. Mr. Jordan Berry.
Thank you, sir. So colleagues. All right, colleagues and everyone, we've heard the superintendent's recommendation, so we need a motion.
I'd love to make that motion.
Motion
Mr.
by
Chair.
Dr. Kelly. Second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. Welcome, Mr. Berry.
I appreciate that. I want to thank board members, Mr. Chambers, and the interview committee for giving me this amazing opportunity. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Lewis School. That's who brought me to Okaloosa County. The teachers, the staff, they're amazing. They've taught me a lot, pretty much everything I know about elementary school. My former principals are here. I'd like to thank them. Mr. Fantasky, Dr. Driver, Ms. Smith, Dr. Driver and Mr. Fantasky, they're the reason I got into leadership, and they've guided me to be the instructional leader I am. My wife and kids, they're here. My rock, they're my support. I know my kids, they pretty much live at Lewis, so now that I'll be at Blue Water, they're going to stay at Lewis. They won't have to be there as long. And I'm really excited to be with Blue Water. A lot of people here, so super excited about that.
Yep, good for you. Congratulations again, sir.
Family comes forward and Blue Water comes forward. We got to try to amass for a nice picture. Come on forward.
Family up there.
Let's go. If you can't see it with your face, I cannot see you.
We all in.
Can you guys be seen?
Come forward and then y'all can kind of, yes, okay,
Okay.
okay. There's a lot of you that I cannot see, so you can kind of switch with somebody.
Tippy toes, Lindsay.
Get in the window. Get your face in the window.
Mary.
Here we go.
Yeah. There you go.
Hey, Angela.
Hey, shot the dark side is good.
Gotcha. On your toes. You got them on your toes. We got you. I'm good.
All right, folks, we'll go ahead and go now to 4.2. Appointment of the assistant principal, 12 months for Crestview High School, recommended by Superintendent Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and School Board. I bring before you Ms. Lisa Kimbrough. Ms. Kimbrough is a proud product of the Okaloosa County School System. Ms. Kimbrough is a graduate of Crestview High School, and she earned both her bachelor's in English and her master's in secondary curriculum and instruction from the University of West Florida. Mrs. Kimbrough then returned to her high school alma mater, where she has taught various levels of English for 20 years. During her time in the classroom, she also sponsored various clubs and organizations, including student government and Christian Student Union. She coached JV and varsity cheerleading for 8 years, with her 2010 team winning the FHSAA Competitive Cheerleading Championship in small varsity co-ed. Mrs. Kimbrough was given the Florida Governor's Shine Award in 2016, and she was named Crestview High School's Teacher of the Year in 2017. She returned to school in 2020 to earn her Educational Leadership Certification. In 2022, Mrs. Kimbrough stepped out of the classroom and into her current TSA position. Her responsibilities have included being the MTSS 504 Implanted Care Coordinator, the Purple Star Military Liaison, as well as assisting with curriculum and discipline. She is married to Mr. Ben Kimbrough, and they have 6 children and 3 grandchildren, and one little cutie is right out there right now. They have been a foster family since 2011 and are members of Life Point Church. Mrs. Kimbrough is excited on the challenge of this new role, if appointed, and is looking forward to continuing to serve Crestview High School and her Bulldog family. Ms. Kimbrough.
Thank you, sir. All right, colleagues, you've heard the recommendation from the superintendent. We need a motion.
I'll make that motion, Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
I'll second.
second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations, Ms. Kimbrough.
I've been told to keep it short and sweet, but I'm an English teacher, and we don't do that. So I am honored and humbled to be standing here, but I didn't get here alone, so I have lots of people to thank. First of all, I'm extremely grateful for my family, who has always been my biggest supporters. I'm also grateful for my CHS faculty and staff over the years who have mentored me, encouraged me, and challenged me. Some of those are Ms. Shaw, Ms. Michael, Carrie Rushmeyer, Mr. Day, Mr. Sanders, Dr. Driver, Mr. Harvell, and that's just to name a few. There are so many. I am thankful to my current administration, who has helped me grow professionally, Mrs. Hayden, Ms. Sears, Dr. Dunn, and the rest of the team. I look forward to learning even more from each of you. And lastly, Superintendent Chambers and school board members and the interview panel, thank you so much for your confidence in me and this incredible opportunity. I'm extremely excited to continue to serve CHS and my Bulldog family. And as we say, once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog.
All right, very good. Thank you.
All right, everybody come forward.
Tuition, guys. Don't be afraid to make another row on the stage. You'll be seen back there. Go, you gotta scooch in, guys. Get another row back there. Okay, that works too.
Yeah, just come right, that's fine. Perfect, okay, here we go. Good idea.
You never lose that.
It worked on me too.
That's right.
All right, folks, we've got about a minute until the public hearing, so I'll call a brief recess, and for folks that want to go, it's a good time. Which is the time that we've advertised our public hearing. So let's go ahead, colleagues, and slide on down there to the public hearing. 15.1. Let me read the item. Public hearing for adoption of Resolution 24-01 approving the proposed real estate exchange agreement between the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida and Ruckle Properties and surplusing the school board property located on Lancaster Drive in Niceville, Florida, to be exchanged, presented by Dr. Bill Smith, Facilities Planning, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. And so as this is a public hearing, do we have anyone that would like to speak to this item this evening? I have one card.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right, yeah, just come on up.
Would I be more appropriate to speak at item number 14 right before the public hearing?
14.1, if, it's the same area, so come on up now, let's talk, this is the item you want to talk about, right?
Yes, sir, but it's actually going to be presented later in the evening. This is it right here.
This is it. 6:15 is when it's advertised.
Okay. I was looking at the agenda, sir, it seemed to be.
I know, no, this is the time.
Okay.
And you've done this before, so you know the rules and all that kind of stuff. You know, you're not supposed to name employees and all that kind of thing.
Understand.
All right.
Okay. I would like you to not execute this agreement at this time. There's several questions I have that, thanks to Mr. Horton, he's fantastic. I can't tell you, I really appreciate all of the time that he's devoted to this to help me better understand this, that say nothing but good things about him. I would like to call attention to the fact that this is done in the face of declining enrollment in Niceville. If you go back and study the December 11th workshop tape for 1 hour and 45 minutes, this is just after your workshop presentation for this agreement. One of the problems that I have with this is, A, why is it not wanted by the developer? It backs up to a noisy highway. It's so loud that all the people in the surrounding subdivision have to sign a noise waiver when they purchase their property. And while it looks like it's 20 acres, it's not really, because when you look in the setbacks for all of the edges of the property and the fact that it's not a circle or even a rectangle, it's an arc, which is a very inefficient use of the real estate. You could replat this property and make it more usable. And now, one of the things that we keep hearing, or that I keep hearing as a public, is that we have to buy this property now because it's not much more of it around, it's not much more available. Well, this the same is true for the ability for the local populace to grow and need more schools. So while you say we have to buy it now, I get it. But this property that you're exchanging it for was purchased for $400,000 in 1990. It's been off the tax rolls for more than half my life. And so when I ask, what use did you use for it? What use did you see for it when it was purchased? That's been lost to the sands of time, and I don't have a lot of confidence that the school district isn't recklessly buying property just because they can, even if they don't plan to build on it. And I would recommend that you go to the December 11th workshop tape at 1 hour and 48 minutes and see that the school district wants to buy as much property as they can, even if they don't plan to build on it, because they can use it as collateral or sell it to raise revenue for capital projects in the future. So I'd like you to not do this exchange right now. Wait a year and see what the local real estate market looks like. Because I believe that there are currently about 3,000 home sites in Deer Moss. And if you use the same ratio of home sites to building Blue Water Elementary School that you would for this elementary school, the ratios just don't work. The school district doesn't need this piece of property, and even if you buy it, it's going to be very difficult to put what you think you can on there because, and we've already demonstrated that we can get by with 20 or 30 acres for a middle school and so forth, as evidence today, where they're successfully operating. So to buy this piece of property and in the shape that it is, because of its geometry, you're not going to be able to put access roads, parking lots, barely be able to put a football field on it sideways. So I would like to ask that you reconsider doing this, and if I understand reading the agreement.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we understood your request.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, colleagues, so we've had our public comment. Is there any other public comment? All right, so as you know, on this particular agenda, this is an action item recommended by the superintendent to adopt Resolution 24-01, approving the proposed exchange. So since it's an action item, in order for us to do business, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Bryant? Second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right, let's go ahead now and back up to, all right, so we've got our appointments and we're on public comment, section 5. Do we have any other cards, Miss Mary? Okay, all right, so there's no blue cards regarding agenda items. Okay, all right, thank you, Ms. Gardner. All right, so section 6, committee and staff reports. There are none, and then section 7 will be the approval of the consent agenda. So we need a motion.
I'll move it.
All right, motion by Dr. Kelly. Second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right, so let's slide on down now. And so we get to 8.1 and 8.2. Those are both information only. 8.1, employees on administrative leave. 8.2, deferred retirement option. Then 8.3, out of field report for the 23-24 school year presented by Ms. Duran and recommended by the superintendent. I need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gardner, second by Mr. Bryan. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. 8.4, employment separations, presented by Dr. Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the superintendent. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dr. Kelly,
Second.
second by Mr. Bryan. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. 8.5, personnel recommendations by Dr. Hale, Assistant Superintendent, and recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Gardner,
I'll second.
second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries  8.6, employee transfers presented by Dr. Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dr. Kelly.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 8.7, leave without pay, presented again by Dr. Hale, Human Resources, and recommended by the superintendent. Need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. 8.8, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, or medical examination, presented again by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? All right, since there's none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. There are no items on the discussion agenda. We've gone to section 10 now, a program status report by the representative, Dr. Kelly, to our construction program. Dr. Kelly.
All right, I've left two handouts at your desk for you.
Yes,
One
ma'am.
is the long version, one is the short version with my notes. And so tonight, I promise, rather than giving you the unabridged version, I will give you the abridged version. So, speaking to task order number 2, that has been completed with the exception of the fact that they are testing a couple of things. One is a new way to open the gates district-wide, and those will be more sensitive to inclement weather, but not as sensitive to lightning. And in addition to that, we're looking at Carver Hills security by putting in an AI phone there. So if you move on to task order 12, district-wide sales tax construction projects. As you know, there is major work happening there on those multipurpose buildings. If you've driven by any of our high schools, you've seen that work there. And as you might know, this week we are having ribbon cuttings at both Laurel Hill and at Fort Walton Beach, and the other high schools will shortly follow. As for the classroom additions, Silver Sands, Elliott Point, Crestview, and Laurel Hill, all of those projects are complete. So that moves us on now to the cafetoriums in the elementary schools. Rather than reading those for you tonight, just know that Mr. Meyer talked about those HVAC systems this morning, so you've all been briefed on those. So that'll move us on down then to the dining room expansion projects. So task order 16, the roofing and canopy projects at Choctaw and at Lewis. They're waiting on a specific style and color of brick to arrive. As soon as that arrives, they'll be starting there. Task order 17, roofing at both Blue Water and Walker, has been completed. Task order 19, Richburg Building 12 renovations. The interior framing there has been begun. That moves us to task order 20 of 40-something, so that's why I'm moving so quickly for you. Task order number 20, Longwood, Laurel Hill, and Richburg roofing projects. Those have been priority projects, and they are complete, as well as Crestview High School's work on Building 8 and the cafeteria. Those are complete. The roofing project at Fort Walton Beach is progressing with about 50% completion, we would say, and Silver Sands is ongoing and about 75% completion, with plans to finish by the end of next week. The material has been delivered for the projects at Niceville High School and at Ruckle Middle, and those should begin this week. That brings us to task orders 21 and 22. Those are practically complete. Task order 24, electrical rough-in is ongoing and duct work as well. Phase 1A of that work is submitted tonight for approval. That might be the next thing we take up on our agenda. Task order 25, time and materials for district-wide stadium repairs. Those projects are complete as well. Again, task order 27, I believe Mr. Meyer updated us on that one this morning, the HVAC at Bruner. Task order 29, CTE renovations at Crestview High School and at the Titan Commercial Building. Those are complete, only awaiting the fire alarm systems to give us the certificate of occupancy. That's the CO abbreviation you have there. Task order 30 on the next page. Time and materials, construction of the new electrical services at Lewis and Crestview with upgrades to Niceville. That's Musco Lighting, and those are complete as well. Task order 32 for Plew Elementary School and Kenwood roof replacement. Those designs are complete, and estimating is ongoing. We might see a GMP for that soon. Task Order 33, design of the two-story press box and concession project was completed for Crestview High, and we're just awaiting the final civil work for that design at Fort Walton Beach. Task Order 34, sales tax projects at Meigs and Destin Middle. Those dining room furniture updates are being prepared for Mr. Anderson as we speak. Task Order 35, new Crestview K-8 school and Destin Elementary 3, 4, and 5 grade centers. Those design works are being developed and are ongoing and revised. Looking forward to working with the principals on those. Task Order 37, again, those were HVAC projects, and Mr. Meyer did such a good job this morning going over those. I won't bear repeating those. Task Order 38, district-wide fine and performing arts facilities improvements. Those initial meetings at each campus are being completed now, and initial design works are being developed. Surveying at Niceville High School has been completed with a draft floor plan being developed. Task Order 39, district-wide parking and paving projects. Just know that those projects are happening at 6 different schools, and that design work is going on right now. Task Order 40, there are 42 of them, remember. 40 is roof replacement projects at Meigs and at Pryor. Initial site visits have been completed, and the initial design for Pryor has been received and reviewed. We're waiting on that for Meigs. Task Order 41, time and materials for district-wide food service upgrades. The initial design for the first project at Kenwood is complete. The concrete slab pricing is being collected for submission for the others to Food Service Director, Mr. Anderson. And task order number 42, the last task order this time and materials for Pryor Middle School asbestos abatement and flooring replacement. That initial design review work is ongoing, and work is scheduled for this summer for that work with the new principal. And finally, just a reminder that March the 12th is the Citizens Oversight Committee meeting at 4 o'clock here in this building. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you for a good report. You must have had a long, long meeting.
We did. We had quite the lengthy meeting today.
Yes,
I'm going to
ma'am.
say, Dr. Kelly, I really like this version
Thank
of the overview of
Thank
all the
you.
many projects.
And we can pass that thanks along to Joel, who helps put that
I
together.
really, it's very nicely laid out.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so now moving to attorney's business, Mr. McInnes.
No report tonight.
All right, thank you, sir. Superintendent.
That's 10.2.
Mr. Chairman, we need.
Oh, excuse me.
10.2.
Did I miss 10.2?
Yes.
I sure did. All right, 10.2, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 24, Scope Modification Number 3, Phase 1A, Central Admin Complex Renovation Project, presented by Dr. Bill Smith, Program Director, Facilities Planning, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Now, we need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? There being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. All right, Mr. Attorney, we're not going to count that as your business. Now do you have it? No report. All right, very good. All right, Superintendent, you had some information for us today, and now's your time if there's some other things you might like to share.
Thank you, sir, but I provided my information this morning and nothing further at this time.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, board members, so it's our turn, and so Ms. Gardner, I started with you this morning, so let's just stay consistent.
Okay. I do not have anything else to add from
All right.
my
Well, you-
report this morning.
Yes, ma'am, you gave us some good stuff there, and so, Mr. Bryant?
Thank you, Dr. White. I see Crestview High School, the staff is still out there, so I did not get a chance to say this morning, but the Crestview competitive cheerleading team attended the National High School Cheerleading Championship in Orlando, Florida this past weekend. Their traditional routine came in second in the nation in their division, and their game day routine came in fourth in the nation. And that's pretty awesome right there. And I believe there was like 56 teams that were competing in that particular competition. So congratulations to our Crestview cheerleaders.
Yes, sir.
That
All
was
right,
it.
yes, sir, thank you. Dr. Kelly?
All right, well, I gave lots of kudos this morning to Niceville High School's coaches and athletes and cheer teams, as well as Ruckles, so I hope that they will look back and know that they were recognized. But I did want to add one thing to my comments from this morning, and that was, I thank you to Superintendent Chambers for allowing me to accompany you over to Edge this afternoon and to give accolades to the Edge Elementary Quiz Bowl team, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, for being first in the state and 7th in the nation. So again, going back to your A-plus schools, I think that we have just all today acknowledged that our students are outstanding in athletics, the arts, and academics.
Absolutely.
And that's all I have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Well, I mentioned today that I would have a couple of items this evening, so I have three brief congratulations. Congratulations to the Pryor Middle School boys soccer team and Coach Michael Lightbourne on their undefeated season and their county championship. Also, congratulations to the Choctaw cheerleaders on their 9th place finish in the Nationals and their 2nd place finish in the state. And then this is kind of hard to imagine, but I'll just go ahead and say that parents and students should be checking Choctaw's information regarding upcoming registration for the 2024-2025 school year. Okay? So that's all I have, and that takes us down now to section 13, and this will be public comment on the yellow card. And we do have a yellow card. Okay. So I have Ms. Brandy Fickling, I believe. Ms. Fickling, would you approach? And so you'll have to endure our attorney giving you some rules.
Okay.
Everybody gets them. All right, Mr. McInnes?
Yes, ma'am. You'll have 2 minutes to make your presentation, and we would ask that you state your name before you begin. Remarks and statements should be addressed directly to the chairman and not to any individual school board members. Concerns discussed must be related to educational issues in the district, and personal attacks against officers and personnel must be excluded from your presentation or your discussions. Items pertaining to personnel matters are under the jurisdiction of the superintendent and are not routinely heard here by the board. And speakers are asked and expected to act in a respectful manner in our meeting tonight. Thank you.
And Ms. Fickling, I'm looking at your topic of discussion.
Yeah, sorry,
because
if you can read it, the pens were not working.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, I because your topic is not an agenda item.
It is not,
This
no.
This is an open item. And,
Yes.
And so I was just curious because it's not something that I was familiar with.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've had an opportunity to talk with the principal or the superintendent about this matter.
I have not, no.
Okay. Well, you know.
I mean, we can do that, that's fine. Speak to them privately about it. It was something that has been publicly advertised.
Yes, ma'am. Well, the only reason I say that is that very often these items are resolved at what we prefer, always,
Okay.
everyone does, I think, at the lowest level possible.
Yeah.
And rather than bringing it up here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to the superintendent who's in charge of the district and say, hey, what about this?
Right.
And he's going to say, I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
But I'll leave that up to you.
Okay. Well, if I could just inform, because you said you don't know anything about it, if I could just.
You haven't sent me an email about it, have you?
No, I have not.
Right. Good.
But if I could just inform everybody about what it is about, just in case they aren't aware. A young lady.
All
I
right,
don't-
Mr. Spolsky, start the timer.
It's
Oh, she,
All right.
yeah. So a young lady at Niceville High School has started a TP USA group, which is fine. It's protected by the Equal Access Protection Act, I believe it's called.
What did you call it?
The TP USA Conservatives Group. I
what
don't
is
know if you're
that?
familiar with Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens.
Oh, just a little bit.
Yes. So he is the founder of the group. Candace Owens is participates with the group. I don't think she's officially with it, but she does stuff with the organization still. And they are going to have a speaker named Morgan McMichaels come in this month. And so basically my issue is not so much the group, but the speaker, Miss Morgan Michaels, because she is associated with Charlie Kirk, who has said some extremely just just racist things about
Well, now, wait a minute.
MLK
That's-
recently.
well, hold on.
Oh, am I not allowed to say that?
Well, I don't know. I don't
I mean,
know.
he's not a board member.
No, but he's a public figure, right?
He is,
Okay.
but
Well, I
mean,
think it'd probably be better to refrain from those
Okay.
kinds of things.
So he has said things.
Just because I don't want to be deposed in a lawsuit.
Okay, so he has said things such as MLK was awful, he is not a good person. He said one good thing he actually didn't believe, and that we made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s, that if he ever saw a black pilot, he would hope he was qualified. And in reference to Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, that you don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. You had to go steal a
All right,
white
this
person's.
is why I asked you, had you sent me an email?
Yeah.
Do you
I mean,
have sources of
I do.
documentation?
These are all
That's what I
direct
would
quotes,
prefer
yeah.
you to send me.
And I
Okay.
definitely can, and obviously, I mean, there are some things too by Miss McMichaels, so
All right.
I can send everybody the
That'd probably be
sources and
good.
everything, so
Yeah.
I just felt everybody at
And-
least should
and
be aware.
concerns about the speaker and that kind of thing, that should
Yeah.
all go to the superintendent.
Okay.
And certainly, I would think, first of all, to the principal.
Okay,
But
yeah.
that's just my thinking. The
Well,
superintendent's in charge. He may have a
can
different
I-
view.
So, so I'm in a couple groups, and I just want to say this real quick if I can. There are a lot of people who have stated that their children have gone to the principal at Niceville.
All right, that's it. Your
Yeah,
time's up.
so-
You don't have to come back. Thank you. All right, do we have any more yellow cards? All right. Okay, so Superintendent, do you have any further business or anything?
I'm sorry, I don't have a yellow card.
Well, you should, now, let me get clarification on this. Stand by. What's our rule, Mr. McInnes, on yellow cards being turned in during the agenda, during the meeting, or before?
They can be turned in during the meeting, but they have to be received prior to us calling this item on the agenda.
All right. Okay, anything further?
As it pertains to the last speaker, we'll have staff get with
Okay.
her, and we'll make sure that we have the appropriate conversations.
All right, very good. All right, anything else, colleagues on the board? All right, how about staff? I don't see the union here tonight, so with that, this meeting is adjourned.